have got to talk about my June TBR. There are so many books, I have my computer open, that I have put on TBRs this year that I have not read. That I want to read. So I am going to just be picking from those over the course of the month of June, but there are also some other books. I have some pre-orders coming that I'm really excited about that I'm going to talk about today. And of course we have our book group picks. These are the 2 books for the month of June for the Books Love Everyone book group. Details in the link tree in the description box below. But for June, and also there will be very soon a introduction video to these books, but we're going to be reading The Dirty Life by Kristen Kimball, as well as Hannah Coulter by Wendell Berry. Either of these or both of them sound interesting to you, join us. That would be a pleasure. I am also going to be reading, I don't have it yet, because I ordered the special edition from Barnes & Noble, and I'm very excited about that. But it's really pretty. I'm going to be reading The Sirens by Amelia Hart. There's a picture of it here for you. This is recommended by my friend Kate, who actually runs the cutest little bookstore in Kentucky, children's bookstore. She sells more than just children's books, but if you are interested in an independent bookstore and you either live near her or you want to put an order in, she is phenomenal and small business, female owned bookstore owner. So I will link her store down below and you should give her a lot of love. But also follow her on Instagram. I'll link all those things down below. But she has recommended to me that I read The Sirens. Now, I am a little trepidatious about this because I did not like Wayward at all, but hopefully, different story. I don't remember not liking the writing. I just remember not liking the story at all. So hopefully different story. Maybe I'll like it more. We've had such a good run with all of the books that have been recommended by my friends for the 12 and 12 challenge this year that I am feeling really hopeful. So a little trepidatious, but also cautiously optimistic. So there's that one. My Catherine Center, I don't have that one yet either because I'm going to get it from Book of the Month. But because it's the cheapest option for getting it and it'll be hardback and I want that. That is The Bodyguard. I don't own this one, even though I have read it. So this will be a reread for me, and I'm excited to get it on my shelf and to reread The Bodyguard in the month of June. My Madeleine L'Engle for the month is the second book in her 4-part memoir series. This is The Summer of the Great Grandmother. I've actually read this one before. This will be a reread for me, and I'm excited to revisit it. It's been a really long time. I think it deals with aging and grief. And then I have some pre-orders that I'm super excited about. Riley Sager's new book comes out, With a Vengeance. I don't know what it's about. I don't need to know what it's about. I'm going to read it regardless. Camilla Sten. She's a favorite of mine. Camilla Sten wrote The Lost Village and The Resting Place. She writes these kind of super creepy, dark, atmospheric, Daphne du Maurier-esque feeling thrillers. And I believe she's a translated author. So I don't know what she writes in originally. Yeah, she is a Swedish author. So each of these is written originally in Swedish, and then we wait for them to be translated into English. I really enjoy her thrillers. And I actually had them on that shelf right there because I was planning on rereading them this year because it's been a while, especially since I read The Village. And you know that that's a good thriller writer when you are interested in rereading the thriller. But I realized that she has a new one coming out. And so this one is The Bachelorette Party, and I'm super excited to read that this month. I am also reading Shay Earnshaw's new book that is being released. This is The Beautiful Maddening. Shea Erneshaw is hit or miss for me, but this one looks really good. I haven't read too much about it, but it gave me, what I did read about it, gave me the same vibes as the books by her that I do really enjoy, such as The Wicked Deep. So I am excited about that one. And then, of course, V.E. Schwab's Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil is coming out. I could be wrong. I think this is a vampire book, but I haven't read much about it. I think there is quite a lot of speculation about what it's about. I do know that a lot of people have received ARCs, and I have purposefully navigated around watching people's videos where they are talking about this book because I want to be surprised. Another book that's on my want to reread it shelf for this year is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I absolutely adored the one and only time that I read it. So I might reread that after I read Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil, if Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil does not scratch that itch. I'm hoping that it will, though. So those are the things that I have pre-ordered or that I am planning to read. You may notice that there are still some glaring series missing from this. I'm taking a little step back from the mystery series that I am really enjoying, the Inspector Gamache series and the Maisie Dobbs series, really, really loving those series, but still feeling like I need a little break from them. So I'm the one that makes the rules here. And sometimes at the beginning of the year, I'm like, oh, I'll read one a month. That's a smart choice. And so I will pepper in one a month in a series for the whole year, and then get into the year and realize I need to space this out more. So that is what I am doing with that. It doesn't mean that I don't love those series. It doesn't mean I'm not coming back to them. I absolutely am, and I absolutely do. And I absolutely want to take a break. So I will. I have also a stack of books that I pulled from my TBR shelves that I think might be a good set of books to try to read in June. Again, though, please do remind me that I have so many books that have been on TBRs from January to the end of May that I haven't gotten to. They're just on a shelf over there that I see every time I sit down on my couch, and it just keeps getting fuller and fuller and fuller of all the books that I have put on TBRs that I have wanted desperately to read that I have not read yet. I want to prioritize those, but I also want some other things. Like, I'm in the mood for some other things. Some of these you will have seen on previous TBRs. I don't know if they were on previous TBRs this year and they ended up back on my TBR shelves, or if they were on previous TBRs last year and they just feel really fresh. But let's have a peek. I'm not putting any Kindle books on this TBR because I'm just not reading Kindle right now. I'm just not. I took it to England with me and tried to read on it and ended up buying books because I really wanted physical books. So I'm just not reading Kindle right now. Speaking, though, of the books that I got in England, a couple of them I have read because they were Mary Shelley related, but I have 3 that I got in England that I really want to read this month. One is a Persephone book that I picked up in Toppings because we didn't have enough time for me to run to Persephone from where we were. So once again, I have not gotten to Persephone books, which just means I need to go back to England. So no worries there. But I picked this up at Toppings. This is Elizabeth von Armin's Expiation, and I really want to read this. I can't remember who I heard talk about this one. It was quite some time ago, but I was intrigued. So it says, "Will it be enough?" she sometimes anxiously used to wonder, "when God at the end asks me what I have done with my life, to point to Ernest and say, I saw to it that his meals were good." No, it wouldn't be enough. She knew it wouldn't. And she, having no children to keep her busy and give her fresh interests as she grew older and new hopes, after 15 years of these evenings and of days filled with calling and callers, with visits to and from relations, with hearing the same things said over and over again, with smiling the same smiles and expressing the same agreements, was becoming so intolerably lonely, so much oppressed by the dreadful repetitions of life, that she had been on the verge of throwing up the whole thing and scandalizing her world and making the bots acutely ashamed and miserable by going off to her disgraced sister, when, on that aimless day of unhappiness, she met Arthur, and he saved her. So Elizabeth von Arman, of course, is the author of Enchanted April. And my favorite book by her, though, is Vera, which I know is a little controversial. People don't really like Vera, but I love Vera. And I like Enchanted April. I like Elizabeth and Her German Garden, but I love Vera. And this feels Vera-esque to me. So I'm excited to give this a read. I find her writing extremely readable. I also picked up 2 books at a Waterstones in, where did I get these? In Canterbury. So I have The Tower by Flora Carr. I like this cover. I've seen this in the States, but I like this cover so much better than the States. And this one says, "They are imprisoned but not contained. 3 women cross a lock. It is 1567. One of them is pregnant, 2 of them fretful. The boat takes them to Loch Leven Castle in the middle of the water. Awaiting them are courtiers braying for blood, hell-bent on keeping one of them under lock and key, Mary, Queen of Scots. In the tower, Mary's maids, Cuckoo and Jane, are her only allies, and the chamber their entire world. A new reality sets in where they are at the mercy of not only their keepers, but of raging Scotland itself. In the outside world, Mary's kin, Queen Elizabeth, claims she can do little but right. Downstairs, the shrewd jailer, courtier Margaret Erskine, places her daughter-in-law Agnes in the chamber as her pair of eyes. Hope seems futile until the bewitching Lady Seton arrives. Seton's power shifts everything in the tower, and soon a plan is hatched. But which of them will risk it all to save their mistress? Which woman loves her queen best? The Tower is a triumphant story of desire, grit, God-given power, and wiles from a striking new voice in historical fiction. So very, very excited about that. And then I picked up this one because I believe that I saw Katie from Books and Things talk about this as one of the books on the Walter Scott long list. I don't think it's going to win anything, but this one looks very intriguing to me, and that is Munich's by David Peace. And this one says, on February 6th, 1958, British European Airways Flight 609 crashed on takeoff at Munich Airport. On board were the young Manchester United team, the Busby Babes, and the journalists who followed them. 21 of the passengers died instantly, and 4 were left fighting for their lives, while 6 more were critically injured. Munich's is the story of the crash and its aftermath, of those who survived and those who did not, of how Britain and football changed and how they did not. A novel of tragedy, but also of hope. So I am extremely excited to read Munich's. I also pulled, as I said, some books that I'm kind of just feeling off of my shelf. So one of those was, in thinking about the fact that maybe V.E. Schwab was going to give us a vampire novel, was this vampire novel that I have been trying to read for some time. I think I had it last on my October 2024 TBR. Maybe September or November, but it was around there somewhere. This one is about a teacher. I think she's an art teacher in New York, and she's a vampire. She's been around for a really long time. She doesn't feed on people, but then I think something starts to happen that makes her need to do that, maybe, or desire to do that. Let's reread. It says, Colette Lessange is a lonely artist who has an elite fine art school for children in upstate New York. Her youthful beauty masks the dark truth of her life. She has endured centuries of turmoil and heartache in the wake of her grandfather's long ago decision to make her immortal like himself. Now, in 1984, Colette finds herself upended by the arrival of a gifted child from a troubled home, the return of a stalking presence from her past, and her own mysteriously growing hunger for blood. Yeah, so I would really like to read this, and I think it might finally be time. And then when I was trying to figure out books that I might take with me to England, one completely impractical book kept calling my name and I did not take it. So I am going to put it on this TBR, and that is a Fane. Why was it impractical? Because this is a brick. It is a brick and a half. Fane by Anne Marie MacDonald is a book that I have talked about multiple times on this channel and I have not yet read, and I would really, really, really like to read it, and I definitely feel like it's the time. So yes, I'm not going to talk about what it's about again. If you would like to look it up, you can, but if you watch my channel regularly, I'm sure you've seen it. Then I have this one, which I started but did not get very far in, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I'm gonna start it over again. Originally, I got to chapter 8, which is page 63. I'm gonna start it over again, though. I wasn't feeling it. I'd like to feel it. I think I could in the right mood. So I'm gonna give this one another try. Everybody knows what Powerless is about. I'm late to the game. I do not need to tell you what it's about. I am also feeling a little bit British, having just come back from England. And so, and also this feels like a moving into summery kind of book. And I have put this on multiple TBRs in the past and have never, ever even, it looks like I've read it, but it's just because it's a used book. I have never even cracked its spine. So this is Lark Rise to Candleford by Flora Thompson. And I would, as I say, every time I put it on a TBR, like to at least read the first one, which is Lark Rise. There are, I think, 3, there's my thing, books. I think there's Lark Rise, there is Over to Candleford, the Green, no, Over to Candleford, and Candleford Green. So there are 3 books in this bind up. Together they tell the whole story, but I would like to just read at this point Lark Rise. So I think I can do it. I think I'll do it. I think I'm feeling it. I'm also, for whatever reason, drawn to Libby Bray's The Diviners. I wanted to read the whole of, I wanted to read these, A Great and Terrible Beauty, these 2 from the A Great and Terrible Beauty series before I started the Diviner series, but for whatever reason, these are not calling to me. They are not it right now, but I could get my eyes off the Diviners. The Diviners is calling to me. So this one is, Do You Believe There Are Ghosts and Demons and Diviners Among Us? Evie O'Neill has been exiled from her boring old hometown and shipped off to the bustling streets of New York City, and she is positively ecstatic. It's 1926 and New York is filled with speakeasies, Ziegfeld girls, and rakish pickpockets. The only catch is she has to live with her Uncle Will and his unhealthy obsession with the occult. Evie worries he'll discover her darkest secret, a supernatural power that has only brought her trouble so far. But when the police call Will to the crime scene of a murdered girl branded with a cryptic symbol, Evie realizes her gift could help catch a serial killer. As Evie jumps headlong into a dance with a murderer, other stories unfold in the city that never sleeps, and unknown to all, something dark and evil has awakened. So that's just calling to me. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And then one of these, I am definitely not going to read all 3 of them, but all 3 of them jumped off the shelf and into my loving arms. So they're all kind of the same ilk. We've got Carolyn, Marilla, and Girl in the Blue Dress. So, Marilla of Green Gables obviously tells the backstory of Marilla from Green Gables, and Carolyn, Little House Revisited, obviously tells the story of Little House through the eyes of Ma. And then this one, slightly different. In fact, it says juicy on the cover. is Girl in a Blue Dress, a novel inspired by the life and marriage of Charles Dickens. So this is about his wife, who he tries to abandon and actually tries to put in an insane asylum in order for him to pursue love of an actress. So Catherine. So at the end of her life, Catherine, the cast-off wife of Charles Dickens, gave the letters she had received from her husband to their daughter Kate, asking her to donate them to the British Museum, so the world may know that he loved me once. The incredible vulnerability and heartache evident beneath the surface of this remark inspired Gaynor Arnold to write Girl in a Blue Dress, a dazzling debut novel inspired by the life of the tragic yet devoted woman. So this, I think, is maybe quite a bit different from these two. So, and having just come back from England and feeling all British inspired, I probably will read this one, to be completely honest. But the other two, as I said, also jumped into my loving arms. So what was I supposed to do? Reject them? Never. No. I will be on summer break for the second half of June. I work well into June, but I will be on summer break for the second half of June, and I have a very strong feeling that I will need a couple of weeks of just straight up like binging shows and reading books. And I am hoping that those will be the books that I read, as well as quite a few from my TBRs for the first half of the year that I haven't gotten to yet. I'm in a bit of a mood, if you couldn't tell. There's a lot of fantasy, a lot of like darkness, a lot of history going on there. I'm in a mood, and I think it's a good one. It's a good one for me. Let me know if you've read any of these, if you think that I should prioritize one over another. I have to tell you, I really think I'm probably going to start with Fane. I really want to read Fane. But we'll see what happens. In the meantime, let's go read.